Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at something that still gets debated, surprisingly. Did humans actually land on the moon?
It's kind of amazing, isn't it, given the mountain of evidence?
Totally. We've got NASA records, international agency reports, you name it, all saying yes, absolutely. So our mission today is to unpack that solid proof.
Right, and maybe understand why it's such a cornerstone achievement, backed up by so many different independent confirmations.
Okay, let's dive in. The Apollo missions ran from 1969 to 72. Apollo 11, July 69, that's the famous one. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, the first steps.
Iconic. But people sometimes forget there were 5 more landings after that.
Exactly. 6 successful landings in total. 12 astronauts walk on the moon.
And they weren't just sightseeing. They ran experiments, gathered, over 380 kilos of moon rocks?
Yeah, over 840 pounds. And those rocks are, key evidence, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely pivotal, because chemically they're unique. They don't match Earth rocks. They don't match meteorites.
So you can't just fake that kind of specific geology.
Not at that scale, no.
Welcome to Oddity, the podcast where we dive deep into the strange, the unexplained, and the wonderfully weird corners of our world and beyond. From forgotten history and bizarre science, to cryptic creatures and mind-bending phenomena, if it's odd, we're on it. So grab your curiosity, turn on the flashlight under your face, and join us as we explore the mysteries that lurk just beneath the surface of the ordinary.
And scientists all over the world have studied them for decades. The conclusion: definitely lunar.
Makes sense. Then there's all the visual proof. Thousands of photos, hours of video footage.
High-resolution stuff, too. And, it wasn't just NASA's feed. Amateur radio folks tracked the missions live.
Right. Independent tracking from Earth. That's a good point.
And think about the politics back then. The Cold War was intense.
Yeah, the space race.
Yet even the Soviet Union, the main rival, acknowledged the U.S. landings happened. That's pretty telling.
It really is. Fast forward to today, and you've got modern space agencies, European, Japanese, Chinese. Their satellites have imaged the Apollo sites.
Yeah, you can see the lander stages, the tracks, the equipment left behind. It's right there in recent photos.
Okay, and this next one is particularly cool. They're retroreflectors.
Ah, yes. Basically mirrors the astronauts left on the surface.
And observatories here on Earth, all around the world, still bounce lasers off them.
To measure the Earth-Moon distance incredibly precisely. They've been doing it for decades.
So these things are still working. How'd they get there if no one went?
Exactly. Plus you have, 50 years of peer-reviewed science based on analyzing the rocks, the lunar environment data from Apollo. It all fits.
Let's quickly hit some common conspiracy points. The waving flag.
Right. It looked like it was waving, but the flag was mounted on a T-shaped pole to make it extend in the vacuum. The wave was just wrinkles from being folded.
And no stars in the photos.
Simple photography, really. The lunar surface was incredibly bright. Cameras needed short exposures, which weren't long enough to capture faint starlight. Like taking a picture of a bright porch light at night, you won't see stars.
Okay, and the whole thing was faked. The sheer number of people involved.
Over 400,000 people worked on Apollo.
Yeah.
Keeping a secret that big
Yeah.
for this long, it just seems impossible.
Yeah, it really stretches belief. What about the radiation belts? The Van Allen belts?
They knew about them. The spacecraft had shielding, and they plotted trajectories to pass through the less intense parts relatively quickly. It was a managed risk, not a showstopper.
Plus, we have modern confirmation now, too.
Definitely. NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, LRO, since 2009, it sent back amazing detailed pictures of the landing sites. You can see the descent stages, rover tracks, flags, experiments.
Wow. Clear as day.
And other countries' missions, like China's Chan orbiters and landers, India's Chandrayaan missions, their findings align with the Apollo data, too. Independent verification.
So with all this, why does some skepticism remain?
It's complex, I think. Maybe some general distrust in governments or institutions, echoes of Cold War propaganda, perhaps, or just misunderstandings of the science involved.
Yeah, it could be a mix of things, but the bottom line seems pretty clear.
I'd say so. The physical samples, the photos and videos, the tracking data, the Soviet acknowledgement, the retroreflectors still working, modern orbital images, it all points one way.
It's an undeniable, monumental achievement. It really makes you wonder, though. We achieved something that seemed like pure science fiction back then, all through dedication and following the evidence. What other impossible things are waiting for us if we just apply that same approach? Something to think about. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.